Hello, my loves, and welcome, loves. Let's try this again. Hello, my loves, and welcome to Bad Witches Only. I am your host, Allie Schlenner. Woohoo! And I am so excited for season 3. In this season, I'm going to try my best to make it a little shorter because we all know that this girl can talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. So I want to make it educational, short, fun, and flirty. Duh. Short, fun, and flirty. That's what we're going for here. If you don't know who I am, I'm Allie Schlenner. I am a self-love and empowerment coach, an energy healer, breathwork facilitator, and a 500-hour yoga teacher. And on this podcast, we talk about all things self-love, empowerment, confidence, magic, mystical, spiritual, and self-development. So let's dive the fuck into today's episode where we will be talking about confidence. And one of the things I get asked most often is, where did my confidence come from? Especially because I have not always been like this. And recently I hung out with somebody who I haven't seen in about 4 years. And when we were talking, when we first saw each other, he was like, "You are a completely different person." And I feel that. I know that. I understand that. I see that within myself. But to have that mirrored back by people in my life is extremely magical. And it's not saying that the version of me 4 years ago wasn't beautiful and perfect just as she was, because she was perfect. And that is exactly the person I needed to be in that moment in order to bring me to where I am today. And where I am today is just one iteration of who I will be throughout this lifetime. And I will continue to grow in so many different ways and evolve. And growth isn't linear, right? There will be different stages of my life where I go quote unquote backwards along my healing journey. And that's okay. That's perfect. And in this moment, one thing that I acknowledge within myself is that an area that I've grown more than anything is in confidence. And that's why I'm so excited to share this episode with you guys today, just about what confidence is, how we can grow confidence, and what that looks like in my own personal life and what I've acknowledged in the world around me. So first things first, the definition of confidence. I want to talk about this briefly. According to Oxford, is the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something, firm trust, right? So this is one form of confidence. Another definition is the state of feeling certain about the truth of something. And then in the way that we talk about confidence or developing confidence is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. And then I did look up the definition of assurance just out of curiosity as well. And what it says is a positive declaration intended to give confidence. And then it also says a promise. And the next definition is confidence or certainty in one's own abilities. So words that I want to highlight in these definitions are certainty, promise, trust, truth, and appreciation. And it's so magical to reflect on this because I feel that in today's world, confidence is beginning to become appreciated rather than something, a quality, especially in women, that has been looked down upon because there is a misunderstanding, there has been, in the world surrounding what confidence means. And it can be a threat, right, to other people. So oftentimes when we have certain qualities that are threatening, we are put down because of them. And I feel that is why over time we have learned to devalue ourselves and to be humble as opposed to confident. And also, I want to point out the definition of humble because I think this is really, really important. Being humble is having or showing modest or low estimate of one's own importance. So why do we feel that it's more socially acceptable to be humble than it is to be confident? Why is it more socially acceptable and more praised to devalue our own importance than it is to trust ourselves, than it is to accept ourselves, than it is to appreciate ourselves? And I think we're at a time now where the narrative is flipping. Thank goodness, gracias a Dios. And also, that belief still lives within us because I know in my whole heart that our parents' generation, well, depending on how old you are, I'm a 28-year-old little nuggy baby. And my parents' generation was taught that being humble as opposed to being confident and being a martyr as opposed to valuing ourselves is what grants us acceptance in society. So those belief systems still live within us. And I can speak to, especially as a woman, this lives within us. And I don't know what it's like to experience any other intersections of human experience. For example, being a person of color, being in the queer community. I don't know what that is like. And in respect to confidence, but I can imagine that with the different layers and the different intersections of human experience, that makes you different than the majority of people, or like makes you different than a white man in a patriarchal society. These layers of confidence, we are taught to shrink even further because we don't want to show our confidence when we are different, because that would make us, quote unquote, less accepted, I would imagine. Or I know what that feels like as a woman, and I can only imagine what it is like to add the layers of different human experiences that go against the patriarchy. So moving forwards, let's talk about confidence. Let's talk about confidence. Let's get the fuck in there. So first things first, in terms of confidence and energy. Confidence is connected to the solar plexus chakra. And this is below our heart, above our sacral, like right below our breastises. And above our rib cage, and like goes in the front and the back. It's like the mid back and the rib cage area. And here, solar plexus chakra is all about like the sun of our being. It's shining. It is being aligned with our purpose, being aligned with our service. It is our ability to move forwards in life in a linear fashion and to put one foot in front of the other and to go get them. It is our sense of empowerment. It is the way that God shines through us, as one of my teachers, Milana Snow, has worded it, that has really resonated with me and then really stuck with me over the years. And it, as I mentioned, it is the sun of our being. The element is fire. It's all about transmutation and creativity, and allowing, well, I say creativity because it's connected to the element of fire, although creativity does live in the sacral chakra, which is right below, but it's all connected. So anywho, confidence is connected to this energy center. which means that all of the energies that exist in this energy center of the solar plexus are inherently intertwined in our confidence. And some things in particular that I would like to point out are our sense of purpose and our devotion to service. And something I've found in my life, the more that I've allowed myself to drop into the energy of being of service in this world, the more I have naturally grown into experiencing what it feels like to be confident. Because there is this element of surrender and openness and knowingness that I am in the right place, doing the right things, because I am aligned with my purpose, because I am surrendered to service. And that is a really, really beautiful feeling. 100 million%. So when we are seeking to become more confident, I think one of the most important questions we can ask ourselves is, how can I be of service in this lifetime? And then commit to following through to the answers, because another aspect of confidence is learning how to trust ourselves. One of the main words that has come out of the definition is trust, right? And what I've noticed with confidence, and like the definition that came to me the other day as I was sitting down and asking Spirit what confidence is, was that confidence is the outward expression of our inner relationship to trust within ourselves. Confidence is the outward expression of our inner relationship to trust within ourselves. So confidence, I feel, is a very external thing. It's something that we portray. It's the way that God shines through us in the energy that we bring when we walk into a room. And you can feel that within yourself, and the people around you can feel that. It is something that is connective. It connects me with you, and you can feel it. You can know and experience when someone is confident, right? Confidence is internal, but it is the outward expression of that internal relationship that you have to trusting yourself. So in order to build that confidence, we have to build the trust to ourselves. And a part of that is cultivating the knowingness that we are aligned with our service, that we are aligned with our purpose, because what is more powerful and magical than knowing that every single day you are contributing to the betterment of this world? And I mean, everyone's going to have a different answer to that. And for me, I know that that is being in devotion to service, because it takes the pressure of having to have everything figured out off of us. And we begin to navigate from a different plane in terms of the motivation for our actions. And there is this deep groundedness and sense of surrender and sense of trust that we can cultivate with ourselves and with the universe when we align with our sense of service. And service doesn't have to just be something that we do in order to, in vocation in our career. We can be of service through offering a smile or offering a compliment, or just making eye contact with somebody, or genuinely giving a shit. All of these things are really beautiful, but it's about the internal dialogue surrounding, why am I on this planet? And each and every one of us, I believe, has a purpose for being here. And when we can begin to even ask ourselves these questions of, what is my purpose for being here on this earth in this lifetime? And to plant the seeds of that question, and to allow Spirit, God, Source, the universe to guide us through our actions in alignment with that purpose, that is how we begin to allow God to shine through us, through our solar plexus. And that is like the deepest root to confidence that I know, that I have experienced. And that is a really, really, really beautiful feeling. And if this is completely new to you and you guys are like, what the fuck is she talking about? This being in devotion to service thing, or the sense of purpose thing, or maybe you're in a place in your life where life has become very habitual. And maybe you wake up in the morning and you do the things that you do because you've always done them. There is nothing wrong with being exactly where you are. There's nothing wrong with that. And while you're there, I invite you to ask these questions of, what is my motivation behind this action? And that's really what we're getting at when we're talking about purpose and service. It's the motivation behind the actions that we're doing. Because remember, the solar plexus is all about guiding actions. It's all about moving forwards. It's all about expressing ourselves outwardly and allowing the universe or God or spirit to shine through us in the way that we show up in the world and the way that we act in the world. So when we can get in touch with our why and the intention and the motivation behind the action and begin to uncover whether these actions are being taken because they're habitual, or because we really give a shit, or because we want to do this, or because we or because this is aligned with our service, whatever the answer may be, it's really beautiful to start uncovering the answers. And that's the meat of this. It's the intentions behind the actions. And that also brings us to, when we're building more confidence, it's important to do things that light us up. And it's hard to do those things that light us up when we are not in touch with what it is that truly brings us joy. And we have to do these things that light us up regardless of what other people think or what we've always done. And that I was on a coaching call a few weeks ago, and one of my clients was telling me about, because we were really working together on building confidence, and she was telling me about how, and it was so inspirational to me, but she said that she had a puzzle. She bought a puzzle and she began to do the puzzle. And this was something she had wanted to do for a really long time, but just hadn't ever followed through about it. And it was something that planted the seed within her in terms of a reclamation of power, regardless of what it looked like on the outside. Because a puzzle isn't something that you'd be like, oh my God, bad bitch energy. And also for her, that was. And that is what this shit is all about. It's about finding these things for us, regardless of what it looks like on the outside, because I watched her reclaim her power in that moment. And the way that she was sharing to me about this puzzle, I could feel the shift in magnetism that she had. And I could understand outwardly, I could witness her outward expression of the internal relationship of trust that she had built within herself. Because remember, this sense of confidence is all internal. This is about going in to discover what it is that we truly want, what it is that motivates us, and how we can take aligned actions. And that is the outward expression. The aligned actions are the outward expression of this internal relationship that we are building within us. So for her, she had this pull to do this puzzle. And there was some sort of resistance that came up along the way. And then when she did the damn puzzle, it was like, oh my gosh, this is the outward expression of this relationship of trust that I'm building within myself, because I wanted to do the fucking puzzle. And maybe she thought like, oh, that's not cool. I don't know. But anywho, like, that is so badass to me, to just understand like, oh, this is what I want to do. And I'm going to do it regardless of what it looks like on the outside, or regardless of what that action is. You know, for me, I love to dance salsa and bachata. I love any type of dance class. I'll be taking new heels dance classes coming soon, and I'm so fucking excited about that. And that for me has been one of the scariest things I've ever begun, because obviously when you start doing something, you're going to be bad at it. And I was really bad at bachata and salsa. I'm still pretty bad at, I wouldn't say I'm bad at salsa, but I'm definitely not like good at salsa, which is probably why I prefer bachata, because I started with bachata. I know more about it. I'm more confident in my skills. But just the act of going to these classes has changed my fucking life. And I make it a priority, because every single time before I go, I'm scared. I'm scared. And that's a part of building confidence too, is doing shit that scares you. Do shit that scares you, and that's right on the edge of your comfort zone. I'm not saying do shit that scares you that compromises your safety, but do shit that scares you that's right on the edge of your comfort zone. Because when you do those things, you will teach yourself that you are safe to continue to act in aligned ways. And when it's on the edge of your comfort zone, but you feel inside of you that you are being pulled to do it, fucking do it. Because if there is an internal pull, by you following through to take the action, you will cultivate a sense of trust inside of you. And the action is the outward expression of that. And how fucking magical is it to just know that when we are pulled to do something and when we are lit up by a certain thing, doing that thing will build our confidence. And that's simple. It's that simple. And for me, that simple act of just doing the thing has changed my relationship to myself, has changed my understanding of confidence, and has changed the way other people perceive me. Even starting this podcast, like I had it on my heart to do this fucking podcast, and I've done my best to be consistent, and I'm extremely proud of myself for just showing up. And like being in business as well, you have to stay showing up. You have to stay believing in yourself in order to get anywhere. Because I'll be honest with you guys, the first year, how many years have I been in business? A few years now, but I have not been consistent throughout all of it. And there are times where it can be really hard to keep going because the external results are not quote unquote where I would like them to be yet. And also, I have a foundation of confidence and trust within myself that guides my action each and every day. And I just hit 1,000 downloads on my podcast, and I'm so proud of that. And also, I've had responses I've had like this inner dialogue in my head that's like, oh, you only have 1,000 downloads. And, I am not allowing that voice to take up more space than, Allie, you've showed up every week for many months. And yeah, I took some time off between season 1 and season 2, but I fucking showed up. And regardless of anything else, there are 1,000 episodes of my podcast on people's phones and computers, and over 3,000 people have tuned into, or 3,000 listens. Like people, I don't know exactly how to break this down. Maybe it's the same people, but let's just say, for example, like thousands of people have tuned in to listen to me. And yeah, it's only 1,000, but if I can be in the ear of one person who listens to something that I say, and if it resonates, like I'm doing my fucking job. And it doesn't matter so much because I am so deeply aligned with my service that I know this will be what I do until the end of my life. I will continue to share and speak and teach and love until the day I die, in whatever form that takes. But this is my purpose. So yeah, there are times where like external voices are in the back of my head, and terms of, or my ego shows up, And when we are so deeply aligned with service and we have this deep sense of trust within ourselves, that is what guides us each and every day to continue to take the actions that expand us. And it doesn't matter what that looks like on the outside, but that's something to be so fucking proud of ourselves for. And more than anything, when it comes to confidence, I want to remind you that your action and the shit that lights you up doesn't have to look like anything. It doesn't have to be bad bitch energy. It can be knitting, which is also fucking badass. It can be trying a new class. It can be learning how to play chess. It can be like trying a new video game or like whatever the fuck it is, but you have to allow yourself to do the thing without judging yourself before you do it. Because so often we get in our heads and we tell ourselves we can't do that because of what it would look like on the outside. But really the only voice of judgment that we have to meet is the one within ourselves. And when we can make the commitment to following through, and following through is another major aspect of confidence building. We have to follow through. One of the words in the definition of confidence is promise. Remember, I highlighted this word, like a promise. And it's so important for us to make promises to ourselves and keep them. And when we keep them and when we follow through, we change our relationship to ourselves and we form this foundation of trust. And I want you to look at it in the same way as like developing a friendship. And the friendship that we are developing is with ourselves. And the best way to build confidence is to be a fucking good friend. It is to show up over and over and over and over again for yourself. And all of the martyrship shit that lives within us, we have to let that go in order to prioritize ourselves and then keep the promises that we make to ourselves. And that looks like showing up over and over and over again for the things that light us up, aligning ourselves with service, and staying committed to all that we are through our actions for ourselves. And it's really the follow through that is the most important thing when it comes to confidence, because remember, confidence is the outward expression of the internal relationship to trust that we have within ourselves. And we build trust by over and over and over and over and over again, following through. No matter what the external circumstances are, and no matter how hard it is for us to follow through, the follow through is what shifts our relationship to ourselves internally. And also, one other thing that I wanted to mention when it comes to building confidence is stop putting off the shit that you know you need to do. Like, for example, I just came back to Mass from Mexico, and a part of the reason why I'm here is because I have shit to get organized. Like, I have to call the dentist. I have a little skin sunspot on my side. I have to go to the dermatologist, make sure everything's okay. Do all of these things that I haven't dealt with. And another part of that is rebuilding the foundation after losing all of my material shit in San Diego. After letting all of that go, I've come home and I'm like, oh, I don't have sneakers. I have one pair of sneakers and they're like brown. They were blue, but now they're brown because they're dirty as hell. And I've been traveling and living in this one pair of sneakers. And, I need warm clothes. I need these things. I need new makeup. I've had the same makeup for years. And there are so many material things that during the time when I was in San Diego and when I was recovering from that, my priority was not to rebuild this foundation. My priority was to keep going. I was like, I need to keep going. I need to keep talking. I need to keep teaching. I need to stay committed and grounded to my business. I need to do XYZ. I need to go, go, go. I need to move to Mexico. I need to figure it out. I have to stay aligned with my purpose. I just need to get through and move and do the damn thing, because I'm not giving up on myself. And I mean, I'm so happy I never gave up on myself, and I never will give up on myself. And also, I never slowed down to be like, I have shit that needs to be organized in order for it to take up zero space in my brain. Because in this moment, in the back of every day, I can't help but think, oh, I have to call the dentist. Oh, I have to call the doctor. Oh, I have to set up this appointment. I have to do this. I have to order a new pair of shoes, da, 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 da. But when these things are in the back of our mind, they are clogging up space. And inevitably, when we have things that we're putting off and putting off and putting off and we're avoiding, that leads to a sense of defeat within ourselves. And when we take the action to alleviate the cloggage of the mental space, we are then shifting into the energy of empowerment, and we are reclaiming the energy of empowerment. And we are saying, I am worthy of free mental space for this to be dedicated to something that's more important and more serving to me and more serving to the universe. So when we just take the fucking action and we say, oh, I called the dentist, that's set up, that's dealt with, that space that we were using to think about the dentist. And, we may not consciously be thinking about it, but when it comes into our mind and we say, oh, I'm just going to avoid it for one more day, we are allowing ourselves to be defeated for that day, So it's really, really important to take these small actions that clog up space in our brain and in our lives. So say, for example, I have clothes I need to bring to Andy's Attic, which is a clothing donation center here in Worcester, Mass. And every time I look in my closet, I have one bag in my closet and one bag in my car, I'm like, oh, I have to do this. And so I'm reminded and I say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. So it's just the acknowledgement of, oh, I have these things to do that I could get organized, but I'm going to put it off for another day. But when I just schedule in my calendar and say, I'm going to bring the fucking clothes to Andy's Attic on Wednesday, great, done. It's scheduled, it's organized. It takes up no more mental space and it has no more power over me. Because when we are in the energy of not taking control or being avoidant of certain things, of certain actions, the action has power over us as opposed to us having power over the action. All right. So whatever you have to fucking do the fucking thing and don't put it off, because you deserve to be empowered about the littlest things. And when we can apply all of these things together and take control over the little things and allow ourselves to be aligned with the energy of service and follow through with the promises that we make to ourselves and really take action in the world in a way that alleviates self-judgment from what lights us up and what is on the edge of our comfort zone and what scares us a little bit. That is how we build confidence. And the true key to building confidence is doing these things over and over and over again, because we build trust through following through repetitively. And just like a relationship to a friend or to a partner or to a family member, to a loved one, it takes one small thing to break trust that we've cultivated for many years. And so I encourage you, whenever you don't follow through, because that energy will be a lot stronger than every time that you did follow through. You can follow through 100 million times and not follow through twice. And those 2 times can stay with you energetically for a long ass time. And the only way for you to rebuild that confidence and rebuild that trust within yourself is to shift into the energy of choosing yourself again. No matter how many times you fall off the wagon, fall off the wagon of loving yourself, of choosing yourself, of committing to yourself, of following through to yourself. All you need is one time to step back on and shift that momentum so that you can allow yourself to rebuild that trust. And this relationship is the one relationship, the relationship to ourselves is the one relationship in our life that we cannot give up on. And it's going to be easy to stay stuck and to stay overwhelmed and to stay not trusting yourself when you do fail to follow through and you do fail to show up for yourself. It's going to be way easier to stay down than it will be to get back up. But just remember, you are human. It is so fucking normal to fall off. And it's so important for you to stand back up. And you are deserving of standing back up. And anytime you forget that you deserve to stand up, I want you to do whatever it takes to get your ass up over and over and over again. Because at first, when you're rebuilding that trust, it's going to be hard as hell. It's going to be hard as hell until you keep doing it, until you recultivate that sense of worthiness and confidence within you. But whatever you need to stand up, you have to give it to yourself. And for me in this moment, what I need is to be home and get organized for me to maintain my confidence and trust within myself. I need to be home and getting organized and doing all the things that have been taking up too much space in my brain and blocking me from creativity and alignment. So whatever that is for you, and we'll all have different answers. I mean, there are times when what I need to build confidence is going to a dance class. And there are times when what I need to feel empowered and confident and magical is to stay at home and lay in my bed and read a book or watch Netflix or do goals or light some candles or journal or whatever it may be. And there are times when, in order to build confidence, what I really need is a hug from one of my nephews or to watch a TV show with my mom or whatever the fuck it may be. But that it's going to look different for you in each and every moment. So the most important thing you can do is look inwards and start asking yourself the questions of what it is that you need in this moment to support the relationship you have to you, and what actions are aligned with that, and how can you follow through with that? All right, my loves. So we are getting ready for a new year. We're still in Sagittarius season. We're getting ready for Capricorn season. A lot of you know I'm a Capricorn baby angel, and I'm so blessed to potentially, I mean, we haven't made it there yet, but to have another run around the sun in just a couple of weeks. So I love each and every one of you. I really encourage you to allow the energy of confidence and empowerment and magic to land within you. And whatever resonated in this episode, if anything, hold on to it. Hold on to it and remember these words and remember how fucking deserving you are. And also remember that we are not taught that we are deserving. We have to teach ourselves this. We have to teach ourselves this. And we do that by cultivating a deeper relationship to trust within ourselves and allowing that to shine through us in each and every way, in each and every day. I love you to the moon and back. I hope you have a magical time. Thank you for being with me for another week of Bad Witches Only, season 3, baby, episode 1. And some of y'all know Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is ruled by fire. So this is a really wonderful time. And we just had a full moon where I felt the energy was deeply connected to empowerment and the solar plexus. and confidence. So now is a really beautiful time to connect with this energy, allow it to land within you, and to allow it to be carried into the new year as we get ready to wrap up 2022, which is the year that my podcast started. Oh my goodness. I can't believe I just started this in April. It's only been a few months, which is fucking wild. I love each and every one of you. I am allowing Mars retrograde to slow me down in terms of my business. So I haven't come up with my 2023 offerings yet, but they will come in divine timing. I've mentioned this many times, but the way that I allow offerings to come through me is not by sitting down and forcing things to come out and come through. I sit down, I ask spirit, I ask the divine what is meant to be shared through me. And I trust that it will come in divine timing. And Mars retrograde, which ends in January 12th, I believe, has really been slowing me down. And I felt that strongly with my biz since it began. And it only happens every 2 years. So anywho, if you're feeling a little slow in terms of energy, just let it live, baby. That's what I'm doing. I love you to the moon and back. I will keep you updated about my offerings as I know them. And I hope that you have a magical week. And I will see you next Monday. Mwah.